March 2024. You're a Russian tank commander advancing through the Ukrainian countryside. Your T-80 tank is one of Russia's most advanced armored vehicles, worth $3 million, and protected by reactive armor designed to stop the most sophisticated anti-tank weapons. You've survived artillery barrages, drone attacks from above, and direct hits from Western-supplied missiles. You feel invincible. Then you see something that makes your blood run cold. A small, dog-sized robot is moving through the tall grass toward your position. It's moving fast, weaving between obstacles, and it's heading straight for you. You try to target it with your machine gun, but it's too small, too fast, too unpredictable. And then you realize the horrifying truth. It's carrying enough explosives to destroy your entire tank. But here's what's truly shocking about what you're witnessing. This isn't some experimental military prototype that cost millions to develop. This is a modified commercial robot that Ukrainian engineers built in a garage for less than $5,000. And it's about to redefine everything we thought we knew about modern warfare. Today, I'm going to show you how Ukraine's ground drones are changing the fundamental nature of combat, why these small robots are more dangerous than tanks, and how this technology is creating a revolution in warfare that will reshape military strategy for decades to come. To understand how revolutionary Ukraine's ground drones really are, you need to understand what warfare looked like before they arrived on the battlefield. For over a century, ground combat has been dominated by expensive, heavily armored vehicles, tanks, armored personnel carriers, and infantry fighting vehicles that cost millions of dollars each and require years of training to operate effectively. The basic assumption of modern warfare has been that bigger, more expensive, more heavily armored vehicles would always have an advantage over smaller, cheaper alternatives. A $3 million tank with thick armor and a powerful gun should be able to defeat any number of small, lightly armed opponents. This assumption has driven military procurement decisions, tactical doctrine, and strategic planning for generations. But Ukraine's ground drones have turned this assumption upside down. These small, agile robots are proving that in modern warfare, speed and intelligence matter more than size and armor. A $5,000 ground drone can destroy a $3 million tank. A swarm of cheap robots can overwhelm the most sophisticated armored formation. And the side that masters this technology gains an enormous advantage over opponents who are still thinking in terms of traditional armored warfare. The evolution of Ukraine's ground drone program has been remarkably rapid. When the conflict began, Ukraine had virtually no ground-based robotic weapons. Their military was equipped with Soviet-era equipment and a small number of Western-supplied systems. But faced with a massive Russian invasion and the need to maximize the effectiveness of every soldier, Ukrainian engineers began experimenting with commercial robotics technology. The first Ukrainian ground drones were crude but effective. Engineers took commercial robots designed for industrial applications, agriculture, or even entertainment, and modified them to carry explosives or reconnaissance equipment. These early systems were controlled by operators using gaming controllers and commercial radio equipment. They were slow, had limited range, and could only operate for short periods before their batteries died. But the Ukrainians learned fast. Each engagement provided valuable data about what worked and what didn't. Engineers refined their designs, improved their control systems, and developed new tactics for employing ground drones effectively. Within months, Ukrainian ground drones had evolved from experimental curiosities into serious military weapons that were changing the outcome of battles. The current generation of Ukrainian ground drones represents a quantum leap in capability. These systems can operate autonomously for hours, navigate complex terrain without human control, and coordinate their actions with other drones and human forces. They're equipped with advanced sensors that allow them to identify and track targets, sophisticated communication systems that make them nearly impossible to jam, and artificial intelligence that enables them to adapt to changing battlefield conditions. The variety of Ukrainian ground drone designs is staggering. Some are designed for reconnaissance, equipped with high-resolution cameras and sensors that can gather intelligence deep behind enemy lines. Others are built for direct attack, carrying explosives or anti-tank weapons that can destroy armored vehicles. Still others are designed for logistics, capable of carrying supplies to isolated units or evacuating wounded soldiers from dangerous areas. But perhaps the most innovative Ukrainian ground drones are the ones designed for psychological warfare. These systems are equipped with speakers that can broadcast surrender appeals in Russian, cameras that can record enemy positions for propaganda purposes, and even systems that can jam enemy communications or disrupt electronic equipment. The psychological impact of being stalked by small, intelligent robots has proven to be almost as effective as their physical destructive capability. The manufacturing process for Ukrainian ground drones is as revolutionary as the technology itself. Instead of relying on traditional military-industrial production, Ukrainian engineers have created a distributed manufacturing network that uses 3D printing, commercial electronics, and rapid prototyping techniques. This allows them to produce new drone designs in weeks rather than years, and to scale up production rapidly based on battlefield needs. The cost advantage of Ukrainian ground drones is staggering. While a traditional military robot might cost hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars, Ukrainian ground drones can be produced for as little as $3,000 each. This means that Ukraine can afford to lose dozens of drones in exchange for destroying a single enemy tank or armored vehicle, creating an economic equation that heavily favors the drone-equipped force. The tactical employment of Ukrainian ground drones has been equally innovative. Instead of using them as individual weapons, Ukrainian forces have developed swarm tactics that coordinate multiple drones in complex attacks. A typical Ukrainian ground drone assault might involve reconnaissance drones identifying targets, attack drones moving into position, and support drones providing communication, relay, and electronic warfare capabilities. These swarm attacks are incredibly difficult to defend against. Traditional military forces are trained to engage visible, predictable threats: enemy soldiers, vehicles, and aircraft that follow established patterns of movement and behavior. But ground drone swarms move unpredictably, can split up and reform, and can attack from multiple directions simultaneously. Even the most sophisticated air defense systems struggle to track and engage multiple small, fast-moving ground targets. The intelligence and reconnaissance capabilities of Ukrainian ground drones have proven to be just as valuable as their direct attack capabilities. These small robots can infiltrate enemy positions undetected, gather detailed intelligence about enemy strength and positions, and transmit this information back to Ukrainian forces in real time. This gives Ukrainian commanders an unprecedented level of situational awareness about enemy activities. The stealth capabilities of ground drones make them ideal for intelligence gathering. Unlike aerial drones, which can be detected by radar and shot down by air defense systems, ground drones can hide in vegetation, move through urban areas undetected, and even operate underground in tunnel systems. This makes them nearly impossible to detect and counter using traditional military methods. The communication and coordination capabilities of Ukrainian ground drones represent another major breakthrough. These systems can form mesh networks that allow them to communicate with each other and with human operators, even when individual drones are destroyed or jammed. This distributed communication system makes the entire drone network more resilient and harder to disrupt. The artificial intelligence systems controlling Ukrainian ground drones are becoming increasingly sophisticated. Early systems required constant human control, but current drones can operate autonomously for extended periods, making their own tactical decisions and adapting to changing battlefield conditions. This reduces the workload on human operators and allows a single person to control multiple drones simultaneously. The learning capabilities of these AI systems are particularly impressive. Each mission provides data that can be used to improve the performance of future operations. The drones learn to recognize enemy equipment, predict enemy behavior, and optimize their own tactics based on what has worked in previous engagements. This creates a feedback loop where the drones become more effective over time. The electronic warfare capabilities of Ukrainian ground drones have also evolved rapidly. These systems can jam enemy communications, disrupt GPS navigation, and even conduct cyber attacks against enemy electronic systems. This electronic warfare capability makes them valuable not just as weapons, but as tools for disrupting enemy command and control systems. The logistics and supply chain advantages of ground drone warfare are significant. Traditional military operations require extensive supply lines to keep armored vehicles fueled, armed, and maintained. Ground drones, by contrast, can operate for days on a single battery charge, require minimal maintenance, and can be resupplied by other drones or even civilian vehicle sources. This logistics advantage becomes even more pronounced in extended operations. While traditional armored forces become less effective as they move further from their supply bases, ground drone swarms can operate independently for extended periods, living off the land and resupplying themselves through captured enemy equipment or pre-positioned supply caches. The training requirements for ground drone operations are also dramatically different from traditional military training. While it takes months or years to train a tank crew or infantry squad, drone operators can be trained in weeks. This allows military forces to rapidly expand their drone capabilities and replace losses quickly during extended conflicts. The psychological impact of ground drone warfare on enemy forces has been profound. Russian soldiers report feeling constantly watched and threatened by small robots that could appear anywhere at any time. This constant stress and paranoia degrades combat effectiveness and morale in ways that traditional weapons cannot match. The fear factor associated with ground drones is particularly significant because they represent a new and unfamiliar threat. Soldiers can be trained to deal with enemy tanks, aircraft, and infantry, but the unpredictable, intelligent behavior of autonomous ground drones creates a level of uncertainty and anxiety that is difficult to counter through training or experience. The countermeasures being developed against Ukrainian ground drones are still in their infancy. Traditional military forces are struggling to adapt their tactics and equipment to deal with this new threat. Electronic warfare systems designed to jam drone communications are being deployed here, but Ukrainian engineers are constantly developing new communication protocols and frequencies to stay ahead of these countermeasures. Physical countermeasures against ground drones are also being developed, including specialized weapons designed to engage small, fast-moving targets, and barrier systems designed to prevent ground drones from approaching critical facilities. However, these countermeasures are expensive and require significant changes to existing military doctrine and equipment. The arms race between ground drone technology and countermeasures is accelerating rapidly. As defensive systems improve, drone designers develop new tactics and technologies to overcome them. This creates a continuous cycle of innovation that is driving rapid advancement in both offensive and defensive capabilities. The international implications of Ukraine's ground drone revolution are significant. Military forces around the world are studying Ukrainian tactics and technology, recognizing that ground drones represent a fundamental shift in the nature of warfare. Countries that fail to adapt to this new reality risk finding themselves at a severe disadvantage in future conflicts. The proliferation of ground drone technology is also creating new security challenges. As the technology becomes more widely available, there is a risk that it could be acquired by non-state actors, terrorist organizations, or criminal groups. The same technology that makes ground drones effective, military weapons, also makes them potentially dangerous in the wrong hands. The economic implications of the ground drone revolution extend far beyond military applications. The techniques and technologies developed for military ground drones are finding applications in civilian industries, including agriculture, mining, construction, and logistics. This dual-use nature of the technology is accelerating its development and reducing its cost. The manufacturing revolution enabled by ground drone production is also having broader economic impacts. The distributed rapid prototyping approach used to produce military drones is being adopted by other industries, creating new opportunities for small-scale, flexible manufacturing operations. The strategic implications of ground drone warfare are still being understood. The ability to project military power using small, cheap, expendable robots changes the fundamental calculations of military planning and international relations. Countries that master this technology can potentially threaten much larger military forces at a fraction of the traditional cost. The democratization of military power through ground drone technology is creating new geopolitical realities. Small countries and non-state actors can now acquire military capabilities that were previously available only to major military powers. This is forcing a fundamental reassessment of global power relationships and military alliances. The future development of ground drone technology is likely to accelerate rather than slow down. Advances in artificial intelligence, battery technology, miniaturization, and manufacturing are all contributing to more capable and affordable ground drone systems. The current revolution in ground drone warfare may be just the beginning of a much larger transformation in military affairs. The integration of ground drones with other military systems is also advancing rapidly. Ground drones are being designed to work in coordination with aerial drones, manned aircraft, artillery systems, and human forces. This integration creates new tactical possibilities and force multiplier effects that are still being explored. The autonomous capabilities of ground drones are expected to continue improving, reducing the need for human control and allowing these systems to operate independently for extended periods. This autonomy raises important ethical and legal questions about the use of lethal autonomous weapon systems, but it also creates new military capabilities that are difficult to counter. Looking ahead, the ground drone revolution pioneered by Ukraine is likely to reshape military doctrine, procurement priorities, and strategic thinking for decades to come. The countries and military organizations that adapt most quickly to this new reality will gain significant advantages over those that continue to rely on traditional approaches to warfare. The transformation of warfare through ground drone technology represents one of the most significant military innovations since the development of aircraft or nuclear weapons. Like those previous revolutions, it is forcing military planners around the world to completely rethink their assumptions about how wars are fought and won. Ukraine's ground drones have proven that in modern warfare, intelligence and adaptability matter more than size and armor. They have shown that small, cheap, expendable systems can defeat large, expensive, traditional military platforms. And they have demonstrated that the side that masters new technology first gains enormous advantages over opponents who are slow to adapt. The revolution in ground drone warfare is happening right now, in real time, on battlefields around the world. The lessons being learned from these conflicts will shape military technology and tactics for generations to come. And the countries that learn these lessons most effectively will be the ones that dominate the battlefields of the future. How Ukraine's ground drones are redefining modern warfare isn't just a story about new technology. It's a story about innovation, adaptation, and the power of human ingenuity to overcome seemingly impossible odds. It's a reminder that in warfare, as in life, the most dangerous opponent is often the one who refuses to play by the old rules. If you found Ukraine's ground drone revolution as fascinating as I did, make sure to subscribe to the channel and check out the videos on your screen right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.